Dear Father in heaven, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you, God, that we are able to do this podcast. And I just pray that those that are listening would be changed, that they would learn something today that they can take with them and use it, Lord, so that we can bring your kingdom here on this planet. Jesus, we love you, and we are excited today about this topic. Lord, just be with us and help us to give you glory. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, welcome back to Tribe Talk. Mike, say hi to our friends.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
How are you doing this today, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really excited about this topic today because it's something I've been passionate about and learning about for 25 years now. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I am too. I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit because I'm not an expert at this one. So,
yeah, well,
I look forward to hearing your expertise on this. So.
Yeah. So, just so everybody knows, I've my original or what I actually do for a living is I'm a human performance specialist, and so I originally started out working in collegiate Division I athletics as a strength conditioning coach, and now I work for the military, running an organization that does running a program that does the same thing, which is human performance. So,
yeah, and what people don't know is Mike Sanders. I'll say it. He'll never say it because he's humble, but Mike Sanders is brilliant on this topic, and you're very good at what you do. And what this ministry is going to try and do moving forward is tie into that expertise to help men develop training plans or to help men reach their potential in mind, body, and spirit.
Yep.
And you've devoted a lot of time to studying how those three things are connected.
Yeah. Right? So that's a great way of putting it. So here's what I would say. I am absolutely, maybe somewhat crazy curious about what makes human beings tick, like what makes us be able to do the things that we can do. So it's always been that's the thing that God put in me, this curiosity of wanting to learn about it more. So early on in my career, which some of the guys that are listening have probably heard me say it before, I was so stuck on the physical side. And then working with the military, I started realizing, man, this is limited. The physical side is a huge part of what we do, but there's more to it. And so the spiritual and the mental make an impact on the overall ability of the human being. And so we're not going to talk as much about that today, but we're going to really focus on the physical, and we will discuss a little bit about how they all go together.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, and to kick things off, I pulled some more audio for you today.
Okay, good.
For our audience, Mike has not heard this yet.
I'm scared.
We do like to tease each other a little bit, so keep that in mind. So let's just play this, and then we'll kind of get into what we want to talk about, all right?
One time I joined a health club, and I got a free personal trainer session. The guy's like, all right, why don't you tell me what your workout goals are? To not work out. Goals? I'm just here so I won't eat for an hour. Can we drop this charade? Why is your shirt so tight? Is that part of the interview process? What are you, a medium? Here's an extra small. Now head out there and be condescending. I feel sorry for the personal trainers that are out of shape. What's their approach? You used to work out, I don't. You don't want to end up looking like me. My favorite machine's the vending machine. Hey, want to go halvesies on a Snickers? Those things are awesome. I probably need a personal trainer. You know, I didn't work out today. That makes she's 3 decades. One time
That is great.
Okay, sorry. So, if you've been around us enough, you'll hear me every now and then refer to Mike as a personal trainer, which is a title he does not appreciate.
No, I hate that, but it's okay.
Yeah. So I figured, little Jim Gaffigan comedy to start us off.
That guy is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he is really good.
He is so good to listen to.
Well, and I think so much of what goes into we also don't really like the term fitness because we like the term performance for a purpose, right?
Yep.
is people's motivation. So I thought that audio would kind of cue us in that,
Yes.
hey, you do got to be willing to do the hard stuff.
Yes.
Another little quick unpaid advertisement, y'all. We've got Infill 3.0 coming up in September. And one of the things we're going to do this time, it's going to be a more workshop-based event. And you're going to teach a seminar, a class for about an hour and a half for everybody on proper fundamentals and
proper fundamentals and on how to just work out and what does it look like and what are the different things to think about when you're doing it. And just so those that might be thinking about coming and thinking, oh boy, that sounds hard. It's not going to be, I promise you.
Yeah.
The idea is for me to teach you how to do things well. And I can't teach you how to do things well and move well if I'm crushing your soul in the process.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to teach some basic stuff on how to train, how to take care of yourself, proper technique on certain things. And then I'll show you how to warm up, how to cool down. I'll talk to you about some basic concepts in strength conditioning and what that looks like and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be fun, and it really is a lot of fun. So I think you guys will enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's not all weekend. Don't get scared.
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half.
One block. You can handle it, I promise. And again, it's access to somebody that can really teach you some good stuff. So.
It's going to be fun.
Anyway, all right, let's get on with our topic. Yes?
Let's do this.
We want to talk about human performance potential, right?
Yep.
And so why don't you tell us what is the why of human performance?
Yeah, so first of all, human performance and fitness are two different things.
Yes.
Fitness is general in nature. I can have you come to a class and I can teach you general movements. We can all do it together, and you will, in the process of whatever that definition is, you'll become more fit.
Is that like the look good naked approach?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Which we all want. Not knocking that.
No, we're
guys.
not knocking that.
Okay, especially you married guys.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
But we like to tie it more to a specific purpose.
Yeah. So this idea of performance. So performance is a different thing, and it is related to fitness. But performance is preparing for a certain environment to be able to move well, effectively, and efficiently inside that environment. And so performance is slightly different. And what I would say is that if I train for fitness, you may not be able to perform at your highest level in the environment I'm sending you into. But if I train you for performance, you'll be extremely fit. Right. But it's just that the environment is always different for everyone. Now, I understand that we're also doing a ministry here. It's slightly different, but we'll put it together in a way that makes sense. But performance is definitely different than fitness.
Well, I think step one's probably to identify your environment, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what is the environment that you're stepping into? What does your environment look like? And not only that, but we've got 18, what's the youngest person we've had? We've had younger than that come to Infill. And then we had some people that are in their 60s that come to Infill. And some of those, and there's a wide range of abilities there in that room. And so we have to think about that, and we have to think about the people we're working with. And some things that I can do for the 18-year-old, I may not be able to do with the 60-year-old.
Right. Well, it's important to note too, this is not just an Infill thing, right? Our ministry focuses on this a lot too, but you don't have to be a part of Junto to find value in what we're going to talk about today.
Right.
So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Let's not lose sight of that.
Yep.
But, so where do you want to go next? I think we're going to talk about interdependent realization.
Yeah, but let me just say this, that the why of human performance.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, is it's to improve. Now, this is the key. What we're doing is we're looking at the human being, all the different properties that make up the being that is human. Okay, so there was a time when I only looked at the physical, but that's changed. And so the idea, the why behind human performance is to improve specific spiritual, mental, and physical potential so that the human being can move effectively, efficiently, and safely in your area of operations. Now, that all sounds a little bit military.
I was going to say, that's definitely a military term,
Yes,
so you have to expand that a little bit.
It is, but at the end of the day, in our ministry, we're talking about the cultural mandate and the Great Commission, that we've been called, that God created us with a plan, and that plan means that we have responsibility in what we're supposed to be doing while we're given life by Him is we're actually being called to go into the world and bring his government to everywhere that we go. And that includes, we talk about this too, but we talk about family, friends, we talk about community, and we talk about workplace and school. So that's your area of operations. So that's your environment. That's where you need to go. So then the idea is, how do I train myself spiritually, specifically, right? How do I specifically train spiritually, mentally, and physically so that I can step into those areas? And that is what this is all about.
Right. Love that. I
Yeah.
think there's experts in all those fields too. When you think of what a mental health provider does or what a spiritual leader does, and then in your paid career field of strength coach, there are experts in each of those. And I think where a lot of programs fall short is they don't integrate them together.
That's exactly right.
And so that
Big mistake.
that is a huge part of our ministry, is to make an attempt to do that.
Yes.
First step is discovering where those needs are. That's the needs analysis piece, which we'll go into in our program, but you should be doing on your own too. I mean, there's no reason why you can't identify areas that you need improvement. In fact, you're probably the best judge for that, right?
Yeah.
The individual. So
Yes.
what were you going to say?
And I have a big surprise for you. I forgot to tell you earlier.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we actually may have a way that I had a conversation today. We may actually have a way of helping guys do their own needs analysis. And I'm hoping there's a chance that we could have this ready for the next infill. If not, it should be coming out on the website at some point.
Oh man, you just said it out loud. So
Yep.
to our tens of listeners,
So
now
now
we got to follow through.
Now I have to do it.
All right, good. That's great, man.
Yeah, so
That's pretty exciting.
Be on the lookout for that. We're hoping that that'll work.
Yeah.
But this idea, though, is that the different properties, the different parts of what makes us human, which is spirit, soul, body, mind, being, I think, connected to the soul, based off the research I'm doing, that they are attached. They are not separate, and they're dependent on one another. So, in other words, the health, wellness, performance, non-performance of one piece does in fact affect the other pieces. When I was working with the SEAL teams, there was a guy on the team that had been through he had been on some of the biggest things that made the news over the years. And I remember I used to train him back in those days. And he grew up as a missionary. His mom and dad were missionaries, and he definitely believed in this idea of the kingdom and so forth. And he believed that he was a SEAL, and that was his job, to take on the powers of evil that's trying to keep that from happening.
Right.
And dude, this guy was one of the most. He looked like a little boy, number one. But there is nothing
Unassuming.
Yeah, there is.
It's the quiet ones.
Yeah, that's right. That
Okay.
guy had everything. So he had it all together in his soul. He had it all together with his spirit, and he had it all together with his body. Now, of course, none of us are perfect. But what I'm saying is he had a smattering of each of these pieces, and it made him absolutely dangerous to the bad guy. So
I like that.
yeah. So anyway, that's the idea of interdependent realization.
Well, I love the tie too. I've got examples of this too in my life, and I'm not a SEAL. I wouldn't say that I'm as tough as those guys are. But here's an example. It's an old guy example.
Yeah.
So maybe some people can relate to this, but not too long ago, I went to work. I was working with students, and it was early in the morning. So we showed up when it was dark. They didn't really see me when I walked in the building. But we started to brief for what we were going to do. We started to discuss what we were going to accomplish that day. And one of my students looks at me and goes, "What's wrong with your eye?" And I go, "Nothing." And he goes, "No, your eye is like totally red and bloodshot." And I'm like,
I remember this.
"This is right before our first infill."
Yep.
And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And he's like, "No, seriously, it is." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever. I can't tell. Thanks for telling me. I just figured maybe a little bloodshot."
Yeah.
So we worked for a couple hours, didn't feel anything, didn't notice anything. Went to the bathroom about 2 hours in, and I looked in the mirror, and it was like like I burst a blood vessel in my eyeball. All the white in my eyeball was red, blood red. And just looking in the mirror and seeing it, and my mind comprehending that it had happened, I could start to feel it.
Yes.
And so that's a connection, man. Your
Yes.
brain will actually connect with your body
Yes.
in a way that like you have power over certain things. It's kind of,
That's right.
It's kind of neat. So is that a little bit of what you're
Yes.
talking about? And obviously the spirit feeds into that as well.
Yes. So theoretically, I got this from Carolyn Leaf. She's the one that I stole this from. But theoretically, the body and the mind function as a single psychosomatic network, which comprises information molecules that control our physical and mental health. What does that mean? Psychosomatic, right, is...
That's a big word, buddy.
Yep, that's your psychology and your body. So the soma is the physical presence, the body, and the psycho, well, we're not psycho here, but you get my point.
I'll speak for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. The psycho is the psychology part, and that these pieces are create information molecules that control our physical and mental health. So you were fine, and then you saw in the mirror, you look in the mirror and you see this this red eye, this demon eye looking back at you.
Yep.
And that then actually affected this, and now you are releasing information molecules that now go to the rest of your body all the way down to your genetic level.
So synapses or nerves connect to my brain. My brain comprehends that there's an injury now.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I can feel everything.
Yes. And now all of a sudden a process, and it starts with something called a ligand, Ligand. So my free will has made a choice. And that's that spiritual component. I have made a choice, and that choice then turns into an actual observable molecule that is now carrying information to the rest of my body to now act out how I feel.
I like it when a kid falls down and you see the parents either freak out or don't.
Yep.
And the parents that freak out, the kid immediately feels pain and cries. And the ones that don't, they walk it off.
How many times when you were a kid did you get hurt and then you look at your mom and dad and go, "Oh, how
that did
serious
hurt.
is this?" Yeah, that
did hurt.
And then you're like, and then you start crying because you see the look on their face. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it is
pretty
making
wild.
one of those connections.
Yeah.
Man.
And there's more to it than that. That's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but there's a lot to it.
Well, but I think the important thing for people to understand is you have power to influence aspects in your life that are uncomfortable or you don't like, or pick something negative. There are ways to tap into your mind and your spirit to affect your body.
Yes.
And I think that's the connection most people are interested in, because they see their body deteriorating.
Yes.
Right. You can feel it as you get older or when you get injured, fill in the blank. So if we can convince you that you have the ability through your mind and your spirit, or your soul and your spirit, to affect the way your body ages, wouldn't that be a program everybody would be interested in?
It would be. And I'm not saying that we're not still going to age. We are.
Of course.
But
you can do it well.
But you can do it well. Yeah. And so like the joke I always have, I'm 55 now. I turned, I'm not quite what I was when I was in my 30s. But the joke I always say is I used to go to the gym to get my gains. Now I go to the gym to hold on to what I once had for as long as I possibly can. But the reality is I can hold on, and I'm still doing quite a bit of stuff that would probably surprise people. But the reason why is I've never quit. So anyway, we can get involved in that process, not only physically of slowing down the aging process, but we can also do it spiritually, which, by the way, will continue on anyway, so it's going to be fine. But we can continue to grow and get stronger in all these areas.
Well, and here's the cool thing. I just thought of this. You tell me if this resonates with you. As you get older and your body deteriorates, isn't it poetic that that's when God makes you a spiritual warrior?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So if that's a podcast in itself, right?
It is, but how encouraging is that you will be, the word we like to use, dangerous.
Yes.
For your entire life.
Yep.
If you lean on Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so that's that spiritual side.
Yep.
But the spiritual side, based off of interdependent realization, which is to say that they're all interdependent and linked, that means that my spiritual health does, in fact, affect my physical health. It can.
Yes.
So anyway, there's a whole lot there that we could.
That should just pump you up, man.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
But this is the idea: is that we are a complex system. So, and there's science, by the way, that speaks quite a bit about this idea of complex systems. So this is a quote that I stole from the writer was D. Rickles and something Ha. Anyway, the article is A Simple Guide to Chaos and Complexity, and it came from the Journal of Epidemiology, Community Health, something. So the idea here is the quote that I stole was complex systems, which is what you are. Now, when I say complex systems, something has to make up that system. For a human being, I believe that we are a complex system of soul, spirit, and body. Okay?
Agreed.
Right. So that means that complex systems are highly composite ones built up from very large numbers of mutually interacting subunits, the subunits being the spirit, the soul, and the body, and then all the pieces of that are often composites themselves. So they're breaking down in subunits as well, whose repeated interactions result in rich collective behavior that feeds back into the behavior of the individual parts.
Okay.
So what that means is that all of these different parts and these pieces, these properties that make us who we are, they are not separate. They are connected in ways that we honestly do not understand. So the next time you hear a pastor try to explain the Trinity and they struggle to do so, the reason why is because we don't understand it.
Right.
Guess what? You don't understand yourself either. Mm-hmm. So we talk about the ministry all the time, being a tripartite human being, which means you are a 3-part human being, soul, spirit, body, right? Tell me where one begins and one ends. You're not going to be able to do that. So what we do know then that there is a non-molecular part of you and there is a molecular side of you. In theology, we would call that the non-corporal and the corporal. I can touch it or I can't touch it. It is or it isn't. Or that's not right either. It is or I can't see it. I can't wrap my hands around it. So then this talks about, or this then makes us more curious about this idea of free will.
Okay.
So my free will then is, we've talked about this before on this podcast. If I have a worldview that is focused on Jesus, because Jesus is the truth, the way to find life. So then the worldview, if my worldview is focused on him and I continue to focus everything on him, then me as a tripartite human being will actually start, I'll choose things in my free will that line up with his truths. Right. And that brings me life.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly goes into your purpose too, right?
Yes.
And why we do things. I had another thought too when you were explaining this. I'm just trying to make sense of all the science, but say you get an injury, you sprain an ankle, whatever, and it sidelines you from doing any activity that you really love. I could sit on the couch and wallow and not PT and be upset.
Physical train. PT.
Right.
Physical train.
I'm sorry.
That's
yeah,
okay.
Stupid acronyms.
Yeah, I know.
Old habits die hard, but
I'm the same way.
Okay, I could sit on the couch and I'm thinking physical therapy too, PT,
Okay, yep.
I could choose to not do any of the active things I can do to get better. And instead sit on the couch and watch TV and eat food and become depressed and not connect with my father.
Yep.
Or I can look at that downtime where I can't physically train and I can read the Bible more.
Yeah.
And I can connect with people in a new way that I've never done before to work on my mental health.
Yep.
Right. So, where am I going with this? It's like you talking about the composite systems and how they're all connected. I can make a choice to let an injury sideline me completely.
You can use your free will to do that.
Or I can make a choice to build up other areas that I'm weak.
Exactly.
While I'm down. And oh, by the way, if I choose to do that, it's going to make my healing process go a lot faster.
That's right. And that's your free will. That's your superpower.
Right.
If I choose this way of life, what ends up happening is I'm choosing that way of life, and then that becomes the way I live, because my body is literally changing to follow that path.
Right.
On the other hand, if I choose this based on his truths, then I'm coming closer to this idea of what he calls, not me, what Jesus calls life.
Love it.
And he calls himself life. It's really interesting. And so
And all of that comes down to a choice.
that all comes down to a choice. And so how does this work? From the same article that I just talked about, from Ha and Shell and all the other people that are involved in that, is that they call it a dynamic system. So you are a dynamic system. What does that mean? It means
I am dynamic.
yeah, you
Mike.
are dynamic.
Thank
I
you.
know. It's a dynamical system is a system whose state and variables evolve over time, doing so according to some rule. So if I plug in a certain rule into a complex adaptive system, which is what you are, I'll change, I'll evolve over time. I'm not talking about evolution. I'm not. What I'm saying is I will evolve. I will be different than I was last time.
You're growing towards your potential.
Exactly. And that is the point. You have potential that is lying inside of you, and there is no way, I'm telling you right now, there is no way for us to wake it up unless I ask it to wake up. And the only way I can ask it to wake up is I have to get to work.
Right. And that takes discipline.
Yes.
So, so what do you do with somebody that goes, well, I just don't like doing it?
Yeah, so there's I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits, and it's just so good. I mean, we're going to be using that book for a long time, and we'll remember the author if I could remember his name right now. I can't, but his book is called Atomic Habits, and I highly recommend it. And one of the things he talks about in there is that bad habits are easy; they're easy to do, and good habits are much harder to do. But the reality is, and then he has something in there that he calls the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule basically is this: like, I want to, and we're talking about the physical. Go ahead. What's his name?
James Clear.
James Clear.
Yeah, we did this last week
Yeah,
too.
that's right. We did it last
It's
week.
all good. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Actually, I have the book in my bag right here. One of the things he talks about is this 2-minute rule. So he said, if you're having a hard time creating a habit, for example, we're talking about going to work out, just get yourself, number one, to put your shoes on.
Make your bed in the morning.
Yes, make your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, do that thing. And then, for example, if I want to go to the gym or I want to start working out or whatever, and you're like, I just don't want to work out. Okay, can you get yourself to do it for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you can get yourself to put your shoes on, now that's an indicator that's like, hey, I'm doing this. So you're already kind of getting your frame of mind correct. It's like Peyton Manning did the same warm up that he did when he was a little kid. Why he was in the NFL? Why did he do that? Because he was trying to get his mind right.
Right.
It's always worked for him, so he continued on. So what if I put my shoes on? I'm getting my mind right, and it's harder for me then to not do what I'm supposed to do. So if you can put your shoes on, then the next step is, can we get you outside and walk for 2 minutes? Maybe you just do that for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Walk for 2 minutes. And then suddenly, you know what? This is actually kind of cool. And what's ended up happening is that hard habit that's hard to create is now making a plastic change in your brain, and now it's becoming automatic.
Right.
So that's the idea. So like I tell people all the time, I work out really hard still. And there's days when I wake up, I'm like this morning was really bad. Like it was really bad. I did not want to go.
Of course.
But I kept telling myself, put your shoes on, get your water bottle, and get your butt out on the pavement and start going. And I did, and I got it done. It wasn't one of my better performances, but I got it done. So,
right.
So the idea is that you just continue. And honestly, it's getting to the point now in my life where working out is as easy is like taking a shower for me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm supposed to do this. It's not a question of, it's just, I just do it. So it's something that's how we develop this over time.
So while you're doing it, Mike, do you find joy? Is it like fun always?
No. And that's the other thing is I'm a pretty disciplined person. So I'm able to discipline myself through it, but that took time as well. And then this, the discipline's just there, and I just kind of do it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that I enjoy the feeling of pain, That's a totally sarcastic comment.
Yeah, but it's true.
But I'll tell you right now, every time I exercise really hard, the car ride home, whoever I'm with, I've been going to the gym a lot with my wife lately. we'll just look at each other and go, man, that was worth it.
No, that's just and that's something I will say. So I've been training for 25 years, and I have never ever walked out of the weight room saying, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Now there have been times where I've gotten hurt, and I've walked out going, God, that was terrible. But it doesn't mean I don't want to continue to get back, and I want to get back as quick as I can.
Right.
And then, like I was joking around with you earlier today. I pulled a muscle in the shower today, so whatever. I'm going to keep showering.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. And I mean, you said it best, I think. It's just take the first step. One thing I've noticed lately too is with all the aches and pains or even an injury, if I rest from that more than a couple days, I really don't get any better.
No.
And I start to see gains in healing when I get back and stress my body out a little bit.
That's right.
It doesn't like to stay static. Your body likes to be dynamic.
And that's what's interesting is we've gotten this theory in our head that we think that not being active is actually somehow, it's the American way. And how many times do people get mad because they had to park in the Walmart parking lot at the end of the thing? And I'm like, that's such an American problem.
Or like circle in the parking lot to find the closest spot when you're going to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Just park just park your car and walk.
Yeah, it's
not going to kill you. And so anyway, and what we know now, I was just talking to someone that's interested in being a strength coach just the other day about this. That we actually have a treadmill at work that's a $95,000 treadmill. And what it is it has a bladder. It's really hard to explain, but it's got this bladder that goes around the whole treadmill. And when we have a soldier that's been wounded, jumped out of an airplane, hurt their ankle really bad, got shot, whatever, there once was a belief a long time ago, just rest. Well, what we do with them is we actually get as active as we can. Of course, keeping in mind we don't want to make it worse.
Isolating the injury.
Yeah. And we get them busy as fast as we can. So this treadmill actually has a bladder on it and they have to put on these pants. They don't look cool, but that's okay. They put these pants on.
That's not true. They always look cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they zip inside. They zip themselves into this bladder. So the bladder's around the treadmill, and then they fill it full of air. And our physical therapist can take up to 80% of their body weight off of them, but now they're exercising. Now, what's interesting is what is that doing for their mind? Whereas before, don't do anything, you're hurt. Now we're taking these high-end individuals who rely on the physicality quite a bit, and now we've got them moving. So what is that doing to them mentally?
Well, it makes them believe that they're going to return to form.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is one example of the holistic, comprehensive idea of what human performance looks like. And one more, I remember back in the day when I was in collegiate athletics, I also trained a Division I gymnastics team. I remember having 5, maybe 6 different workouts going on in the weight room based off of injuries. So they still had to compete, but I didn't want to make it worse. So I had to work around that injury, but still try to give them the best I could to make it
very tailorable.
Yes. So anyway, we kind of probably spent too much time on that part, but the idea then is that the what of human performance then is it's a developmental program designed and driven by the needs of the individual. Remember, we're talking spirit, mind, body. We're talking about soul. So it's a developmental program designed and driven by the needs of the individual and their unique performance profile to achieve an optimized level of potential.
Okay, so you just said step 1 is put your shoes on.
Yep.
All right, so how do you make the bridge from putting your shoes on to getting to that next step then?
So if we talk, right, so what are your goals, right? And the thing is, and this is again coming from Atomic Habits. Clear, what was his name?
James Clear.
James Clear.
I'll remember his first name now.
Good, great. Yeah, that's good. So James, early on in his book, he talks about what was the question? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
Well, so we said the first step is putting your shoes on. So, and then you talked about it being a developmental program and needs analysis. So what's step 2 for somebody that's trying to start out?
So set a goal, but don't get focused on the goal. The goal is something way out there. That's the future. That's where I'm headed. What you want to do the most effective way is what is your system? So, for example, would like to, I'm making this up. I would like to run a 5K.
That's a stupid goal, but
Yeah.
for all you runners out there, I'm calling you out. Running is the devil's exercise.
That's right.
Let's put it that way.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm just kidding. It's very good for you, and I hate it.
Yeah, but I hate it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if that is my goal, that's great. But you haven't done anything in a really long time, and you haven't ran for years. Okay. So you probably shouldn't start running right away. So what's your system? How am I going to get to that goal? Maybe it means that for the first month, I'm only walking, and then I'm going to try to increase the pace. Then maybe the second month, and again, I'm making this up. This is very loose. Then maybe the next month is on Mondays. I walk, 5 days a week. I'm just making this up. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, on Mondays, I'm going to do a 3-minute run with a 2-minute walk, 3-minute run, 2-minute walk, and keep that up. And then on Wednesdays, I'm going to do a 2-minute walk, 2-minute run,
Okay.
and so forth. And then on Fridays, I'm going to do a 1-minute run, 2-minute walk. And then the next week, 3, 2, 1, and then I walk those other 2 days. So anyway, and then I continue to make it harder and harder over time, but your body is changing over time. So this is one of the things I tell people all the time. If you've been doing the same workout for more than, and I'm pushing it when I say this, 6 weeks, you're probably wasting your time. Your body has already adapted to that, and it needs a new stressor in order to continue to improve.
Say that again, Mike, about stress and how important it is to growth.
Okay, so you cannot get better at anything in life unless you have some level of stress.
All right. So to my original question, what do you tell the guy that says, well, I don't like to do it?
So again,
Do it anyway.
do it anyway.
Yeah.
You have to, if I, and this goes for the spiritual component, like if I want to get closer to God and I want to bring him more into my life, then you have to set the goal. I want to do this. What is your system? And that system should then include, where am I doing this? What time of the day am I doing it? And what's my process? And it's the same thing with working out. I, for years, always have worked out in the morning. And so like anything, if something goes on in the morning that keeps me from being able to work out, I almost always will not do it in the afternoon because I just don't have, the habit's not there. It's changed in me. It just doesn't sound like anything I can do at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's the benefit of discipline, right?
Yes.
So you've made a choice that you're going to do it that way. And here's the cool thing about that concept is because you've committed to it, you'll actually repeat it.
Yeah.
And so this system, whatever it is that you're going to build, it has to be a challenge. You already said that because you need stress. You also have to set something that is achievable.
Yes.
So to your original point, if your goal is to run a 5K and you haven't run in 5 years, and you go, I'm going to start by going out tomorrow and trying to run a 5K, you're going to fail.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Yeah. So I like the step process, but
and then you're going to get mad,
right?
And then you're back on your couch eating potato chips again.
All right. So great example. A lot of pastors will stand up on the pulpit and say, hey, first 15 minutes of every day or whatever, you have to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Well, what if that doesn't work for me?
Right. So then what you have to find is what does work for you.
Right.
So I'm a morning guy. I am the best I can be up until about noon.
I could attest to this. And then it becomes a zombie.
Yeah. And then afterwards, it's like, I try to get all my hard stuff done, the things that really take concentration, the things that are, the hardest things that I do during my day, I try to get them done in the morning because I'm just better at that. But that's just me, though.
Well, and that's the point, though, right? So, guys, if 4:30 in the morning is not a good time for you to work out because you aren't going to be productive, build a system that works for you.
Yeah.
But don't do nothing.
That's right. So like my wife is actually, and I don't know how she does it. She'll do workouts at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That sounds like just pull all my teeth out. Like it just does sound a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Right. But she can do that and I can't. And so it's important to have that in mind. So everybody's different.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you got to identify though, right? So why don't you give us a little insight on needs analysis? How do you do that?
Yeah. So what are your needs? And to begin, what is holding you back? Remember, what we keep talking about the ministry is is how do I become the best? How do I pull the highest level of potential in myself, in my soul, in my spirit, my body, my mind? How do I do that so that I can go out and bring Jesus with me everywhere I go? How do I change the culture that I'm stepping into? So the first thing you have to do is, what are your needs? So is working out something that you need to start? Where have you been? When's the last time you lifted weights? I actually had a firefighter ask me one time, what if you haven't done anything since 1970? A firefighter asked me that. So and that's a legitimate question. So that what are your needs? How and where are you? So what are the things that would help you get started? Maybe I just go and lift weights. Maybe I just go out and run or whatever. And then what do I need spiritually? Am I spending time with, and this is the most important part, you guys, am I spending time with him? Am I laying my issues, my challenges, my struggles? Am I thanking him? And that's something that, I try to do every day. I try to say, I start my prayer time off by, thank God. Thank you for my family. Thank you for what you did with my, at some event I was at last night. Thank you for what that person said or whatever. And so you have to think about all those things, and you've got to get him involved. And so, and then read or listen to podcasts or whatever. What's your process for becoming smarter at things, at life?
Well, that's the hard part, right? I think what men tend to do is go, well, I don't know how to do that, and I don't want to admit I don't know how to do that, so I'm just not going to do that.
Right.
And when we talk about performing a needs analysis and creating a performance plan, if you're not willing to ask, well, first of all, raise your hand and admit you don't know something, and then go find somebody who does and ask them how to do it, you're never going to grow.
Yeah, that's right. So let me that's great. So let me put it this way. I'm going to give you two ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
For me, who's been at this for a long time. So, what I do is I get up in the morning. The first thing I do is make coffee, because coffee and God, I think, they might be closely related somehow.
100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. It's a gift from God to all humans.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So the first thing I do is I get coffee. The second thing I do is I grab my Bible and my journal, and then I go and find a quiet place in my house, which is usually everywhere because everybody's still sleeping.
4:30 in the morning.
That's
yes.
right. And I go and I sit down and I read a chapter from the Old Testament. This is what I'm doing right now. It could change next year. It'll be something kind of like this. I read an Old Testament chapter and I read a New Testament chapter. And I don't just read them. I'm actually trying to figure out, what's going on here.
You study.
Yeah, I study.
Yeah.
So I study, and then I write down things that, man, that really hit home, and I'll write it down in my journal, and I'll think about it or whatever, and then I pray, and I usually keep this up for around 35 minutes, and that's my morning routine, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I go and write. Why do I write?
By the way, real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but that number is not prescriptive.
No,
that's what works for Mike Sanders.
And that's the point. I'm going to go and I'm going to bring a different thing here in a minute. So this is what I'm doing. So then what I do is I sit down and I write, and I write for about 45 minutes. And what that allows me to do is it helps me take all these things that I'm thinking about and put it in a way. So now that I'm thinking about it, and then I'm seeing it, and now I'm seeing it on the paper, and or in the computer, and it's coming back at me. So that's an important piece. And then what I do is I make breakfast, and I read during breakfast. So what are things I'm trying to learn? So as of right now, I'm reading a book on the Apostle Paul, which is mind-blowing, by the way. I'm reading Atomic Habits, and then I'm reading a book that makes my brain hurt, which is by Immanuel Kant. Don't read that. Anyway, so I'm reading that book as well right now. And
what if he wanted to sponsor you and our organization?
Well, he's long gone, so he doesn't care.
Okay, never mind.
He's fine. He's fine. But so and then I read that, and then I get done with that, and then I go and train myself physically. So what have I done? What I've done is I've actually done a preparation before I do anything else, and I do that because for me, I just want to be able to focus on me, and I want to bring God in that process before everybody needs something from me. So what I do is I do those pieces. Now, let's say, for example, we're working with somebody on the exact opposite spectrum of that. Can you spend 5 minutes this morning, you get out of bed, or do it right before you go to bed at night, whatever. Whatever works best for you. Can you spend 5 minutes reading the Bible, maybe a passage, thinking about it and praying about it?
Yes.
Yes. Can you spend, and I'm making this up, 5 minutes reading a book that you're curious about?
Oh yeah. You've just given me 10 minutes of homework so far, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then can I go for a 5-minute walk?
Okay, 15 minutes? Yes.
Yes.
I have enough bandwidth in my day for that.
So there's 15 minutes of something that you've done that is improving yourself. And then that is that 2-minute rule. I'm doing something that is improving. And now all of a sudden, this is pretty cool. It becomes a habit. And then you can start expanding on that if you want to over time. And that's how, but we don't spend a lot of time taking care of ourselves. And if we take time caring for ourselves first, then we can serve other people better.
Love that.
So
the other thing too is like, you don't even have to, if you set your goal that small right away, you don't need to make a plan to expand. You're going to find that you are more content and more happy, and you have more peace.
Yes.
And you're going to expand those time limits, not on purpose. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
You're just going to start reading, and then next thing you know, it's been 10 minutes instead of 5.
Yeah.
And it'll continue to grow. Same thing with your workouts or you know, whatever it is that you're doing to grow.
And I started out wanting to pray, and I just remember I don't know what to do here. Right. But I kept with it, and and I wanted to legitimately get better at growing closer to Christ. So I took the time, and now I'm doing this, and there are days when I wish I had more time. And what I would say is if I take any of that out, I can tell I'm not the same person. So anyway, so the idea then is that we have to understand, if we look at the spirit, we look at the mind, we look at the soul, we look at the body. What I will tell you is, without a doubt, that the potential of the human being, as we speak right now, take it from an expert, is unknown. We don't know what we're capable of, and it may be unknowable. So in other words, for all the years, the 25 years of me doing this, learning as much as I possibly can from it, we still are scratching the surface on what humans are capable of doing, which is amazing, because the Bible tells us we are created in His image.
Yeah.
So there's something there then that I think that we need to get ourselves involved in.
Well, the cool thing is we all grow at different paces. And if it was possible to reach the end, then you would be bored for a portion of your life.
Yes.
So from a very practical standpoint, that's, I think, very merciful of our God that He gives us unlimited potential so that you can feel purpose your entire life.
Yes.
While you co-labor with Him.
That's so good, man.
One of my favorite words. Go ahead.
I love that. All right, so let's talk about this adaptation piece.
Okay.
So human beings are capable. We can pull different levels of potential out of us. So what we know then is that the human being is real, and I've seen it. Okay, I've seen it. 25 years of doing this. Human beings are amazing at adaptation. We can adapt. Now, what you need to understand, training is a catalyst. That's all it is. It's a catalyst that increases adaptation. So if I go out and let's say I'm going to do a leg workout today, and so I got, something Olympic, I'm probably talking Chinese to some people, but snatch or say clean, and then I'm going in there and I'm doing a squat, I'm doing some single leg stuff and whatever. I'm actually not getting stronger while I'm in the weight room.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm actually getting weaker. Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So what's happening is I'm actually driving myself through stress as a training input that is, in short, my body is looking and saying, "Oh my gosh," and my mind is doing the same thing.
Well, evidenced by the fact that you're tired at the end of your workout.
Yes, that's right. But what it's doing is like, man, if he does that to me again, I need to be ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes so that if it happens again, then I'll be ready to go. So training is the input, the catalyst, and all it is a catalyst that starts a process of adaptation. So positive, focused input creates favorable output. If I am trying to get better at squatting, If I want to squat a lot of weight, I put the stress on myself. And then what ends up happening is if I do it well and I do it favorably and I don't do crazy things, I do it correctly, it will actually create a favorable output. I will get stronger. Now, the thing I always tell people is, how does squatting have anything to do with me stepping into an area of operation? Well, and this is just one example. They got a billion more, so we're just going to use this one to help people understand, is if I'm squatting, what I'm actually doing is my legs are actually pushing into the floor.
Right. Makes sense.
So what I'm doing is I'm creating a process of my body getting better at yielding to outside force and then overcoming outside force, which is exactly what you do when you are moving in your environment.
Nice.
So how well can I train my body to absorb and create force into the ground? That is why I squat. I don't squat necessarily to make myself stronger unless I'm a power lifter. I make myself stronger to create the ability for me to push force into the ground because that's what I need in my daily walking around.
Right. It's a controlled way that you could train the muscles to do what you're going to do naturally in your environment.
Now, some people can't squat because they have injuries. That's okay. We can work around that. Remember, I had 6 different workouts going on with my gymnastics team.
Right.
So now,
so when you squat, are you pushing the weight up or are you pushing the earth down?
you're pushing the earth down.
Just want to make everybody's head explode.
Yes. Wow.
Say what?
That is deep thinking.
Let's not get into that. Yeah. All right.
Deep Thoughts by Jim Marion.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. And then on the other hand, then the amazing adaptable human being, we have to think about this, that negative input then creates unfavorable output. So if I overtrain, for example, physically speaking, it's going to end up creating an unfavorable output. If I'm doing things that putting myself in some sort of danger, that's going to be unfavorable. Now, let's talk about the spiritual side. If I'm bringing in positive things by choosing my free will,
nice.
superpower of free will, it then is going to create favorable output. If I'm putting things in spiritually, I'm choosing pornography, I'm struggling, whatever, you get it. The idea is I'm putting negative input, and that's going to create unfavorable output. And by the way, that means then that my worldview does actually make an impact here. And then I have to remember that decisions I make based off of this, what we just said, not only affects me, it can affect other people. So in other words, if I use pornography, it's not just affecting me. It's affecting my wife, and it's affecting the relationship I have with her. Oh, and by the way, there's kids involved. So this is how serious we're talking about. So this idea then of changing habits, like Cleary, is his name, right?
James Clear.
James Clear. Sorry, it'll hit me one of these days. Yeah. I alwa's remember the name of the books.
You're reading the book.
Yes, I just never remember the authors.
I got your back. I'm your wingman.
That's right.
All right.
But see, that's the thing is that if habitually then is, and this is what he talks about, the things that are tough in life are the ones that are hard. The things that to make the change on. The things that are easy are the ones that are, okay, I can do this. It's amazing how that works. And so there's your positive and negative input. So you have to be careful about what you're doing. Okay.
So can those, trying to tie some things together here from what you said, but like those choices to, the example you gave of using pornography, I would say that's more of a soul or spiritual
absolutely
anchor. What does that do to the development of the body?
Great question. Okay. I'm going to try not to make everybody's eyes roll back in the back of their head. So let's just put it this way. There is some facets of quantum potentia involved in this. Free will then is a choice that I make from the world of the quantum realm. When I make that choice, then it becomes reality in the world. And not only does it affect me, but it affects others. Now, what's interesting is, and I haven't quite worked this all out yet, I'm still working on it. When I choose a path from quantum potentia, I do that with my free will. I do it with the spiritual side of me. This is what I think. And it's called downward causation. I choose that path. And what ends up happening is, and I talked about it at the start of the podcast, it goes from being a non-material thing to a material thing, and that material thing is called a ligand. And this is insane. Insane. But the theory is that ligand, which is now a material thing, is carrying information that I told and I chose to tell it to do from the spiritual world.
So basically, the choices we make have a physical impact.
Yes.
On your body.
Yes.
On the health of the system.
Yes. So you asked me about pornography. So this means then that if I choose that, what ends up happening is I'm sending that information. It becomes a material thing, which then, this is the crazy part, it then goes through my body and attaches on to epigenetic, to my genetic DNA through something called epigenetics, which means it's an addition to, and it's looking for a specific door. Okay.
When it bonds to that door, it manifests itself in what?
And guess what? My genes now express themselves based off of what I told it. And where did it start? From the spirit.
Well, so here's another part to contemplate then too, because we talk about how they're all connected. And we both agree that you're supposed to exercise, your body's a temple, you're supposed to prepare it. What about those that make their body their entire purpose? Because everything is for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so we should be training our bodies in order to meet the potential God wants you to meet.
Yeah.
But what about those people that make it their everything?
I believe that it becomes it's become a crutch.
Okay.
It's a way to, because I've been there, by the way.
Yeah.
I've done it myself. So it becomes a crutch where you are trying to find everything through the spiritual side, and you're developing it. And then what you end up doing is you're getting, ripped or big or whatever it is. And you somehow think that that's how you're going to.
That's what defines you.
Yeah, that's what defines you, and it makes you matter. And the reality is it's not true. And so I'll just say that I've seen some of the scariest, dangerous people in the world that do not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from The Predator. And not even close. In fact, that's as far as away as you can possibly be. So again, this idea of training, if you can't move better in an environment, then you're not doing it correctly.
It's all tied to purpose.
That's right. So if I'm a bodybuilder, okay, well, that's a little bit different because you're competing at bodybuilding, but not many of us are doing that.
Well, but there's also bodybuilders that follow Christ and their lives are for a purpose, right?
Yep.
And they can use that as their platform. But I don't know. I don't want to slam on gym rats or anything like that. It's not the purpose of this statement, but everyone does need to understand that you can go too far. You can shift the balance on any one of these so far that the others suffer.
Absolutely.
And there are people out there that exercise their bodies, the way they look becomes their God.
Yes.
And so you have to tie purpose to every movement.
Yes. I used to train physically probably 3.5 hours a day. And I used to carry my Bible with me. I didn't spend much time in it. I believed in God. I went to church, things like that. But I was so out of touch with what really mattered. And so I've just realized that I have to have those other pieces in my life as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so Jim, if you don't mind me bringing this up.
Yeah.
Okay, so all training, as we've been talking about, and growth occurs through a productive response to stress. So I want to put the right amount of stress, the proper kind of stress, and then that leads to production, right? I produce a positive way moving forward. Now, what's really cool is this adaptation leads to something called an allostatic balance. An allostatic balance is this. It's the human being's ability to maintain stability through altering and correctly improving internal mechanisms to counteract challenges that come our way. Okay, that's a mouthful. What that means is this. When we train physically, spiritually, mentally, we get stronger, we're able to handle more. What happens is we go into this idea of allostatic balance. The world goes to heck, but we have a different level of training, right? And so we can actually increase our allostatic balance, which means that when things get that way, I've improved my internal mechanism so much that I can counteract those challenges better than I could before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, give me an example.
So let's say, I'm trying to think. There's something here recently that happened to me. So I was rear-ended
Okay.
in my car. I had my kids with me and my wife. And when the woman hit me, the first thing she did was she decided she was going to take a run for it. And something just absolutely switched in me. And I think back to it, it's amazing what I was thinking. So the first thing I did was I told my daughter, my oldest, because we were getting some pictures taken of her for a senior time. I said, get on the phone and call the guy that's taking the pictures who's in front of us. I said, tell him to get next to another car and slow down as much as he can, because she was trying to get away.
Right.
And I couldn't catch up to her. And I said, tell him to slow down as much as he can and basically keep her from being able to go further. That would help me catch up. Then I said, honey, call the police. And all at the same time, and I've got the feet down to the ground. Probably not the best thing to do with my family in the car,
Right.
but I was mad. So I chased this person. They ended up going into this neighborhood, and I lost touch. I lost her, but I just kept thinking, okay, slow down, get your mind right, figure out where she's at, and I found her in this neighborhood trying to park her car, and the next thing you know, the police are there and so forth. And sure enough, they get her for trying to run. That's this idea, this allostatic balance. It was a preparation that I had that I didn't even know existed in me that came out that came from guaranteed from training that I've been doing in the past.
So stress was introduced.
Introduced.
It was a new variable.
Yep.
And you were able to react to it in a way that was appropriate.
It was appropriate
to meet an objective.
Right. And the right thing happened.
Wow.
So we figured that out. So that's an example of this idea of allostatic balance. We can train and we can change. So when we need it, we have it.
Right.
And it takes stress.
Right.
So to get there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine, you've been exposed to stress over time, little pieces of it in your training regiment.
Oh yeah.
To prepare you for a situation like that.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, those are all kind of things. Now, what I would say is there's this theory from the world of strength conditioning that we call supercompensation. Supercompensation is a theory from the world of human performance that simply suggests that the physical functions can improve to higher levels of potential for better performance. So if I have a hockey player and I want to improve their performance, I do things a certain way, and their bodies will supercompensate to have it when they need it. And there's a science behind how to do that.
Okay.
I believe, as I've been studying and then being in the military, I believe that we can see the same improvements in our spirit and soul as well. And that's what I've been talking about. We've been talking about throughout this podcast. We can do that. We can supercompensate. We can be better than we were yesterday, but it takes time, and we've got to get involved in that process.
Right.
So there you go.
All right. So does that word mean that your training regiment can develop a state in your body where you'll see exponential growth? Is that kind of what the word means?
Yeah, absolutely.
And is that over like a long period of time, or does it?
It's a long period of time.
Okay.
So that and we don't have to necessarily worry about this so much with the ministry, but and most of the people that we work with, but if I'm working with an athlete, it takes years to get them prepared for a higher level of competition. And so, like I always like to say, Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, Has anybody ever noticed that Usain Bolt is usually the fastest man in the world at the Olympics, like the biggest stage, right? Well, the reason why he's that fast at the Olympics is because it's done on purpose.
Yeah, his regiment is built so that he peaks.
Yes, at the right
that
time.
time. Yes,
it's
of
right
course.
time. That's how much science is actually involved in that process. But we don't need to get into depth on that here.
Well, maybe share this though. How does Jim Marion apply that to his life?
So there again is set your goals. What would I like to be doing? And then, if it's maybe you could even choose something like I want to run a 5K. And on top of that, I would like to be able to squat this amount of weight and bench press this much weight and do this many pull-ups. I'm just making all that up. So maybe that's your goal. That's the goal I have in the future for a year down the road. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to train every day to get to a point of being able to do that in a year. And then you write down, okay, this is where I'm at on all these different things, and say, that was pretty cool. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again in the next year. Well, then now the goal is to either go further, lift heavier, whatever it is, but you can do that. Now, again, with me as I'm getting older, that's not as easy as it used to be, but I can definitely, I still see some improvements, which is crazy, but
Right.
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it.
And I'm 55.
You were supposed to say that out loud.
No, but it's true.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be some opportunities for us to help people do that too, moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Which will be kind of fun.
Yeah. And we will be doing that. We're going to be putting out more things in the future to kind of help people out with that.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Man, what else do you want to talk about?
So you kind of talked to this a little bit about having the goal, and then, how do I improve? Well, we call that periodization. So it's what it is. It comes down to, excuse me, periods of time that I dedicate to this specific training. So I want to read the Bible for 5 minutes a day, or I want to read the Bible for 5 minutes a day. I want to pray for 5 minutes a day. I want to read 3 books this year, and I want to run a 5K and squat this much weight. I'm just making this up.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is that there's a periodization. There, you put the goal on the calendar, and then you start working on those things. And it's simply periods of time is dedicated to that specific training. So what we talk about a lot in our ministry, excuse me, is that there's times to prepare for your mission, and your mission is, again, to bring kingdom's potential, rather, let me say it a little bit different, kingdom's government to everywhere I go. So you can prepare for that, and then you execute the mission, and then you rest, recover, and heal. So that means then that I'm prepared. I'm doing, and this is what I do every day. I prepare myself. And then what I do is I go to work, I pour into my family, I pour into friends, I do things in the community, I'm executing the mission. And then there's times when I just get really, really tired.
Right.
And I need to rest, and I need to heal. And then there's times when I might get hurt. I might get hurt by someone spiritually. I might get hurt mentally. I might, I might physically get hurt. So there's times when I have to rest, recover, and heal. But the idea is I rest, recover, and heal just long enough so that I can go back and prepare.
Right.
And we can do that on Sundays. Sundays is a great time to rest, recover, and heal. Just slow the heck down and don't worry about things, and just watch TV, hang out with your wife, do things with your kids, go to the beach, So it's not always a matter of like, I got to be going 1,000 miles an hour. And in some ways, you got to think about it. You're rest, recovering, and healing yourself in those situations. But what you're doing is you're also pouring into your family. So you're almost kind of executing the mission as well, just differently.
Right.
So all that stuff is connected.
And we've built our programming this way too, guys.
Yep.
Here's what you have to look forward to this year. In September, we start back up with groups.
Yep.
And every time we end a group, it's cool. We bond with these guys, right? We do life with them, and we love each other
Yep.
in a great way. And when the groups wrap up, I have a lot of folks look at me and go, "We're really going to stop?"
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to stop because
Yeah.
we need a break.
Yeah.
And so we built our programming this year that we're going to have basically 2 offerings. One
Yep.
that starts in September and one that starts in January.
Yep.
And the purpose is we're going to go really hard from September to early December. And then we're going to rest and prepare over the holidays for the next vol of whatever it is that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And some guys will continue with the ministry. Some guys will find their purpose and they'll go do God's work in other places. But either way, take that break.
Yeah.
And then we'll do another launch in January. And same thing, we're going to go really hard. And then we're going to take a break over the summer. And that's our board's opportunity to write new content and figure out what the direction we want to go next time.
Yep.
And I mean, it's cool. Like all those guys that I spent all last year with, I'm really starting to miss them now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's been a couple months.
Yes.
And that's going to energize, my efforts for them starting in September.
Yes.
And you got to approach your life that way. You also got to approach your training programs that
Yep.
way. So especially for the body. And so you're talking about like when you rest. So there's a weekly cycle of rest, recovering, and healing. There's a long-term cycle of that as well. You talked about training for a specific event where you're going to go really hard until that event gets here, and then you're going to do a long rest.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's also training periods where like I want to maximize my growth. So I'm going to stress myself out for a 6-week period
Yep.
doing this stuff. Then I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to change up my whole workout regimen, right? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
You are hitting it. That's it.
So when you think of this prepare, execute, rest, recover, and heal process, there's micro examples of it and macro examples of
Yes.
it. And you have to build a program that accounts for all of those.
Yeah, that's right. And again, the idea is, remember what we just said, because Jim just said it, you have to build a program for it. What did I say? What's the ultimate goal? We get caught up in goals too much.
Right.
And what we actually need to do is look at our systems.
Right.
So what is your program? The program is the system.
Right.
What am I doing in order to improve? Okay.
Those things exist simultaneously too.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is complicated. So again, find an expert.
Yeah.
Get them to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So what ends up happening here through all this process, we talked about the non-corporal, the non-material side. We talked about the material side, the body, and so forth. Something called neuroplasticity. So the more I make these choices, good habits, bad habits, what ends up happening is neuroplasticity comes. And I stole this from a book called How God Changes Your Brain, and it says, it's the ability. No, so neuroplasticity is the ability of the human brain to structurally rearrange itself in response to a wide variety of positive and negative events. So again, if I'm taking in negative things, which are based in lies that keep us away from the truth, Jesus' truth.
Yes.
What I'm end up doing is I'm actually rewiring my brain. So when I rewire my brain, in these negative ways, it gets a heck of a lot easier for me to do those things. And it becomes less about will, and it's just I do them because it's in my brain.
Right.
On the other hand, if I do something positive and I tie everything I'm doing to Jesus, because why? Because he's the truth. If I do that, this is the way then that I find my way to life. So positive and negative events will actually start changing the structure of your brain. Now, how I always explain this is the first wagon that went on the Oregon Trail probably did not go very smoothly.
It was paving the trail, man.
It's paving the trail.
Oh yeah.
So in other words, there was probably
blazing. It was blazing
yes.
the trail. No pavement back
No,
then.
there's no pavement, but the horse is working twice as hard too.
Yes.
So the people are working harder, the horse is working harder, and then the next one comes along and it's a little bit easier. The third one, fourth one, fifth, and then the 10,000th one or whatever. Now there's a trail that's etched into the ground that is the horse is not working as hard, the people aren't working as hard, the wagon probably lasts longer. It's just happiness everywhere, right? So this is the idea of neuroplasticity. The issue is that so that when I start out with a habit, it takes a while and it's kind of hard. And then the more I do it, whether that's positive or negative, what ends up happening is it starts blazing a trail like the Oregon Trail.
Right.
And then suddenly it's really easy, and there's ruts in the ground of my brain that's just making this thing happen really
And
easily.
those ruts can be positive or negative.
And they can be positive or negative.
So once you're down that negative path, it's pretty easy to stay on it.
Yeah. And so if I have a bad habit, then it's even harder to get away from it, but it can happen. I just have to make a different choice, because then over time, that neuroplastic change starts changing in the brain. It's not as smooth as it once was.
So you just need a rattlesnake to scare the horses off the trail, right?
Yes.
I mean, I say that kind of jokingly, but sometimes it takes an emotional event to get you off the trail.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep. That's exactly right.
All right.
So let me just finish up. We're kind of getting to the end of this thing. So let me just say this. So I'm going to give you one example, Jim.
Okay.
Of a ton that I could give you on how, on a very practical sort of way that shows you how these different pieces connect. Okay. So we talked early on about this idea of interdependent realization.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say, for example, I go out which I did this morning, go out for a run, and I get done from the run, and I come back into the house. I'm hot and sweaty, and all this stuff. What we don't know is that there's a lot of things happening during that process. But one of those things, remember, I'm talking about a million different things that happen, so I'm only talking of one. One of those things is my brain releases something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is also known as BDNF. And the easier way to say it is it's Miracle Grow for the brain.
I copyrighted that. I got full credit for that one.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, Miracle Grow for the brain. I love it.
So Miracle Grow for the brain, it's what it does is exercise has an effect on neurotransmitters. So I worked out, and now my brain has actually released something called it's Miracle Grow for the brain. So then if I'm learning anything, and by the way, everything's learning, everything, if I'm learning something during the day, I'm actually creating this neuroplastic change faster. So if I, again, make something habitual, where each day I'm saying I'm going to spend this much time with God, I'm going to spend this much time working out, and I'm going to spend this much time reading something or learning something new or listening to a podcast, whatever, it has a better chance of becomes part of you.
Right.
It's just mind-blowing to me.
Even if you're tired, by the way, it makes you sharper.
Yes, even if you're tired.
Right. So if you want to improve performance in all areas, get a workout in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your body's a temple.
It is the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Exactly right. Well, I mean, that's a great way to put it too, right? So it's not just making mental connections that help you learn better. It's opening pathways for the Holy Spirit to talk to you.
Yes.
Too. So like it's both the soul and the spirit.
That's right.
That is awesome.
It's amazing.
So man, let's make this full connection then too, right? So what we're saying is, and I'm not saying you got to start your day this way, but you do. That's one of your methods. So if you start your day with a workout, it makes you sharper for your studies.
Yep.
Makes you retain information better.
Yep.
And there's a ton of science that proves that.
Yep.
It also makes your prayer time more efficient.
Yes.
And makes your daily connection, your daily walk in purpose, co-laboring with the Father, more effective.
That's right. So there you go. So I prepare in the morning, right?
Yep.
Hitting all the three parts of that make me up, so that I can execute my mission during the day, so that I can come home at night and rest.
Right.
So then that's it, man. That's how it connects.
Well, and conversely, that's just one pathway, right? Conversely, you have a good relationship with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
He's going to prompt you to put your shoes on in the morning.
Yes, he does. And I was really mad at him this morning because I did not want to go.
He can take it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he can totally take it.
So, okay. So let's finish up here if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So what's the idea here then? What's really interesting is we see a place in the Bible, and we've talked a little bit on this podcast, so I won't go deep into it, but where we see the Apostle Paul, and he is talking about the third heaven.
Right.
And he goes through this process and says, in the body, out of the body, I have no idea, but God knows. So what he's getting at is like something happened to him, and I have read some things that they think it might have been a near-death experience. But whether that's true or not, he still is talking about the fact that he went to this third heaven. So that means then, at the very least, there must be a second and a first heaven, right? So that means then that what that is those are the natures of the creation that we live in. A first heaven would be the physical side. Remember, you are tripartite.
Right.
You have a physical, you have a soul, you have a spirit. And then what we're talking about here.
So when you say the physical side, you mean the world we live in right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Everything around us, everything you can perceive, comprehend.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the physical side.
All right. There's number one.
But it also has two other natures. And then there's the second heaven. And from the research I've done, that's the place where angels and demons are active.
Spiritual?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's a third spiritual side, and that's the throne room of Jesus.
Which would be the soul?
Which would be, no, that I think, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not 100. I think it's probably spirit, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, it doesn't have to directly tie to spirit, soul, and body.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that. And I still haven't worked it all out in my head yet. But so those that is the realms of one universe that you're in. So then that means if I'm preparing to execute a mission, that means that I need to prepare myself because I'm walking in those three realms.
Right.
So the very fact, so this is from Dr. Harold Eberly, he says the very fact that the Bible speaks of three heavens leads us to believe that it is at very least a three-part world.
Right.
And the three-part world, he goes in and speaks about those pieces. So that's the universe you live in. And that means then I need to prepare myself in all three areas, which is interdependent realization, that I have what I need allostatically, so that I can step in and change the world, which is to get involved in the cultural mandate and the Great Commission to make it more like heaven.
Absolutely.
And that's why you were given life.
And it is confusing, guys, but there is a lot of scripture to back this up. I mean, we can all comprehend where the Father sits, what we typically consider heaven, right? That would be one. There's a lot of what Jesus said, and the fact that he had to come here would represent earth, where we are right now,
Yep.
and that is a part of heaven.
Yep.
And there's my dog's losing it. Wow.
Speaking of the physical just meltdown.
That is hilarious.
That was your dog
Yeah.
this day. But anyway.
And then we can there's also a lot of scripture that points to spiritual warfare.
Yes.
And so that would be the third realm.
Boom.
Yeah.
Second realm. Maybe, the third realm gets involved in that too.
Well,
but
the three I just explained.
Yep,
So just trying to put it in layman's terms for guys to understand. And here's the cool part. You don't really have to fully understand it.
No, you can't. You can't.
Right. You may never comprehend it.
Nope.
We won't know until God decides to reveal what he decides to reveal. But here's really the bottom line of this whole podcast is I am going to be prepared for all three.
Yes. Do what you can to prepare.
Exactly right. And it is worth it. It's worth the effort, and it's worth it to do things that are hard.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. If I didn't have those things in my life, I honestly don't know what I would do without them. And I'm not saying they're easy, because there's plenty of days I wake up and I'm like, oh gosh. Like this morning.
This again?
Yeah, when I ran this morning, I just did not want to do it. But I did it, and I just feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Right on.
okay.
How full is your love tank right now, man?
It's pretty full.
Yeah.
That was fun.
In our relationship, I spend most of the time trying to bring you back down to earth and stifle you a little bit. Yeah. I figured I'd just cut you loose today.
That was good. Thank
Yeah.
you. I need that every once in a while.
Hey, I learned a ton, dude. I do love hearing your thoughts on this stuff, and I appreciate you letting me ask questions and trying to expand on the concepts so that I can understand it better.
Yeah, so just so I shouldn't probably say this out loud. I'm actually working on a book for the ministry for us that is going to go in depth on all of these different pieces, and it's going to be it's really there's a lot of things in there, and it's really difficult, but man, am I excited about it.
That's awesome.
And it should be the next 25 years, I guess, before I get it done. But that's beside the point. Whatever.
It's all good. Just keep chugging away.
Yeah, just keep working at it.
Yeah, it'll get done when it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Again, if anything you heard today interested you at all, we're going to go into it a little bit more
For sure.
at Infill. Our content moving forward is definitely going to touch on this stuff. So get involved. Go to www.juntotribe.com. See what we're all about. Reach out and let's partner.
Yeah, and it's going to be September 12th, 13th, and 14th. I'm pretty proud of myself for knowing that.
That's true.
Yeah, because I'm not usually like that.
Good job. You can sign up online right now.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
and I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. It's going to be awesome, man. I cannot wait.
And for those that have been, it's going to be completely different this time.
Yeah.
Which is
We changed some things.
well, hey, our concepts are our concepts,
Yep.
but it's going to be way more interactive. I'll put
Yes,
it that way.
more interactive.
and very practical.
Yes, that's right.
So get ready for it. And hey, guys, we just want to encourage you to, right? You can, whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever is your challenge, you can do it.
Absolutely.
And we've got your back. There's other brothers on earth that have got your back. Go find them, and let's get after it.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Love you, buddy.
Love
Good
you too.
discussion today.
That was fun.
Thanks for informing me.
Okay.
It's time, man. It's time for you to say goodbye.
See you.
And bye-bye.